Helmuth Johann Ludwig von Moltke, also known as Moltke the Younger, was a nephew of Field Marshal Count Moltke and served as the chief of the German General Staff from 1906 to 1914. The two are often differentiated as Moltke the Elder and Moltke the Younger. Biography. Helmuth von Moltke was born in Biendorf, Mecklenburg-Schwerin, and was named after his uncle, Helmuth Karl Bernhard von Moltke, future field marshal and hero of the Wars of Unification. During the Franco-Prussian War, Moltke served with the 7th Grenadier Regiment, and was cited for bravery. He attended the War Academy between 1875 and 1878 and joined the General Staff in 1880. In 1882 he became personal adjutant to his uncle, who was then Chief of the General Staff. In 1891, on the death of his uncle, Moltke became aide-de-camp to Wilhelm II, thus becoming part of the Emperor's inner circle. In the late 1890s he commanded first a brigade and then a division, finally being promoted to lieutenant general in 1902. In 1904 Moltke was made quartermaster general, in effect, deputy chief of the General Staff. In 1906, he became chief on the retirement of Alfred von Schlieffen. His appointment was controversial then and remains so today. The other likely candidates for the position were Hans Hartwig von Bissella, Karl von Bülow, and Colmar Frey von der Goltz. Critics charged that Moltke gained the position on the strength of his name and his friendship with the Kaiser. Certainly Moltke was far closer to the Kaiser than the other candidates. Historians argue, however, that Bissella was too close to Schlieffen to have succeeded him, while Bülow and Goltz were too independent for Wilhelm to have accepted him. Indeed, Moltke's friendship with the Kaiser permitted him latitude that others could not have enjoyed. Goltz, at least, saw nothing wrong with Moltke's performance as chief. Marne campaign. Shortly before the outbreak of hostilities of the First World War and the Marne campaign of 1914, Moltke was called to the Kaiser, who had been told by Prince Karl Max Lichnowsky that the British Foreign Secretary, Sir Edward Grey, had offered French neutrality under guarantee of Great Britain. At this news, the Kaiser, seeing that a two-front war could be avoided, told Moltke to reverse the Western Front forces to the eastern one against Russia. At this, Moltke refused, arguing that such a drastic alteration of a long-planned major mobilization could not be done without throwing the forces into organizational chaos, and the original plan now in motion must be followed through. Years later, General Hermann von Stabs, head of the German Railway Division, would dispute this opinion with a book detailing a contingency plan that the German army had for such a situation. Although Gray's offer turned out to be a wishful misinterpretation by Lichnowsky and the Kaiser told Moltke to proceed as originally planned, the general's health broke down as a consequence of this clash, and on the 25th of October 1914, he was succeeded by Erich von Falkenhayn. It is a matter of debate whether the failure of the Marne campaign can be placed at Moltke's feet. Some critics contend that Moltke's weakening of the Schlieffen plan led to German defeat. The records show that Moltke, who was concerned about Russia, moved resources eastward. In fact, Moltke moved 180,000 men east before the war. Many thousands more men were transported from the crucial right wing to the left wing facing France in Alsace and Lorraine. Most controversially, on the 28th of August, Moltke sent 2 corps and a cavalry division to reinforce Ludendorff and Hindenburg just before the epic victory at the Battle of Tannenberg. This series of moves has been viewed by some historians as responsible for much of the strategic failure of the Schlieffen plan as enacted in 1914. A number of historians, notably Zuber and S.L.A. Marshall, contend that the failure of Alexander von Kluck's First Army to keep position with Karl von Bülow's Second Army, thus creating a gap near Paris that was exploited by the French, is a more direct cause than any planning foibles on Moltke's part. The Schlieffen school disagrees. and argues that Moltke lost control of the invading armies during the month of August and thus was unable to react when the First Battle of the Marne developed in September. While Moltke had lost effective touch with his field commanders, German operational doctrine had always stressed personal initiative on the part of subordinate officers, more so than in other armies. Other historians argue that the multitude of strategic options Moltke faced, and the danger of the Russian invasion of East Prussia clouded Moltke's judgment. Although earlier in the campaign German generals and the press had been proclaiming the campaign as good as won, on the 4th of September Moltke was found despondent that the lack of prisoners meant that the Germans had not yet really won a decisive victory. Moltke may well have been overly preoccupied with the unsuccessful German offensive in Lorraine, and he issued no orders to the 1st, 2nd and 3rd Armies between 2 and 5 September whilst the Battle of the Marne was in progress. Following the German retreat from the Marne, Moltke allegedly reported to the Kaiser, "Your Majesty, we have lost the war," whether General von Moltke actually said to the Emperor, "Majesty, we have lost the war, we do not know. We know anyhow that with a prescience greater in political than in military affairs," he wrote to his wife on the night of the 9th. "Things have not gone well. The fighting east of Paris has not gone in our favor, and we shall have to pay for the damage we have done." Later activity after being succeeded by Falkenhayn, Moltke was entrusted in Berlin with the officer-chief of the Home Substitute for the General Staff, which had the task of organizing and forwarding the reserves and of controlling the Territorial Army Corps, corresponding to those at the front. Moltke's health continued to deteriorate and he died in Berlin on 18 June 1916 during the funeral for Marshal von der Goltz. He left a pamphlet entitled Die Schuld am Kriege, which his widow Eliza intended to publish in 1919. She was dissuaded from doing so because of the problems this might cause. The pamphlet was designed to show the chaotic nature of events leading up to the war, in order to counter Allied accusations of deliberate warmongering by Germany. However, army chiefs and the German Foreign Ministry were disturbed by its contents. General Wilhelm von Dommes was sent to advise Eliza von Moltke against publication. Having read the pamphlet, he confided to his diary that it contains nasty stuff. Instead, Eliza published the more bland Erinnerungen, Briefe, Documenta, a collection of her husband's letters and documents. Other material was archived. Some was later destroyed in World War II, and the original pamphlet has not been accessible since.